Hello, my wonderful viewers. Welcome to my platform. This is Linda's TV show. If it is your first time of coming across this channel and you like what you see after watching, please subscribe, put on your notification bell, set it to all notification. In that way, you'll be able to get notified each time I upload a new video, even those without notification. Here we react to all forms of videos, international and local. Every Saturday by 2 p.m. we have our interaction section. You are free to call in to air your opinion about the happenings in our society. Invite your friends, share my videos with your families and colleagues. Do not keep this information to yourself. Myself, I will be sitting down here to watch this video together with you from the beginning to the end. Then we'll go to the comment section and leave our comment, our opinion about the video we watch constructively.
So if you look at yesterday's primaries, all the northern candidates, the candidates from the northern zones, if you add their votes together, that would have yielded an additional 100 votes, close to 100 votes for Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. And if you aggregate all these votes from the southern candidates, it would have been barely over 300 votes.
Nigerians in the diaspora still cannot vote during Nigerian elections. A lot of noise was made in the National Assembly at some point under the current dispensation to explore ways of enabling diaspora voting. Sadly, it all ended in frustration. However, the estimated 5 million Nigerians living and working outside the shores of this country may indeed be following with interest the journey to another general election back home, especially the ongoing political party primaries. We're now being joined from the United States by Professor Chika Modi of Johns Hopkins University to discuss the changing landscape of Nigerian politics at this time. Is it for good or for worse? What's the view from the diaspora? How does the heavy monetization of politics back home compare to other presidential democracies? All right. Well, sadly, we know that people in the diaspora won't be able to vote this time around because of the changes in the constitution that still hasn't, allowed for people in the diaspora to vote. But we know that the diasporans have always followed what is happening in Nigeria very keenly, as I imagine that you will have followed what happened yesterday. We also know that many people abroad do support with heavy dose of contributions, money, etc. There are chapters in the UK, in the US, in Canada of at least the two major political parties. So my first question to you is that given that it is the parties that will choose their candidates at the primaries essentially, what can the contributions from abroad amount to in picking the right candidates for Nigeria? And then secondly, you saw what has happened with the PDP. Is Atiku yet again? What are your thoughts? Do you think that that's the direction that the People's Democratic Party should have taken? And what do you think that will be the deal for Nigerians and those in the diaspora in the possibility of an Atiku presidency?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there, a good set of questions. I think you already answered part of it. There are two essential tracks through which Nigerians in the diaspora influence the politics in Nigeria. Again, you're right, there is interest. A lot of discussions in the Nigerian community about the elections. The first track is money, resources. And funds are raised here in the US, funds are raised in Europe from Nigerians in diaspora. And the second track is social media. I would argue that Nigerians in the diaspora have an outsized influence in social media. And that mechanism will make its way towards opinion, if not on the streets, but at least among the elite in Nigeria. The other part of your question, you're talking about PDP primaries.
Yes.
And also how the diasporans could, influence what goes on. Primaries are very different from general elections. The dynamics are very different. The structure of those races are very different. The internal party affairs, there is a much smaller electorate that selects the candidates. So, for example, yesterday you had 764 people select candidates, but in a general election, that number is going to be north of 30 million voters. So to that extent, they are a bit hampered, and there's no constituency outside Nigeria, in this case, local government areas, in the primaries. The third part of the question was about the emergence of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar yesterday. I listened to your two earlier guests, and they had some very interesting opinions. As particularly the last speaker who eloquently talked about the candidacy of Atiku, and he talked about the primaries themselves. Two quick observations about that. Maybe some slight difference in opinion where the data points. So if you look at yesterday's primaries, all the northern candidates, the candidates from the three northern zones, if you add their votes together, that would have yielded an additional 100 votes, close to 100 votes for Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. And if you aggregate all these votes from the southern candidates, it would have been barely over 300 votes. Now, the structure of that race changed when the president did not assent to the bill, and it became a vote per local government area. And the structure of the country, there are more local government areas in the northern part. And in fact, Wike is not from the southeast, as was alluded, it is actually from the south-south. And the aggregate votes of all the southeastern candidates was 16 votes yesterday. So you would agree with me that no matter how those candidates banded around, it would not have made a significant difference to the elections yesterday. Now, it's just a matter of numbers. The structure of the race was about numbers, and it showed in how the votes happened. In terms of Alhaji Atiku's candidacy, it's left to the electorate to decide. Steve, you made some very interesting comments about the non-voters, let's put it that way, the young people who are the majority, and the apathy they've shown in numbers. This time around, this cycle, a lot of people are optimistic that we might see greater engagement of the youth and non-voters. The elites in the urban areas have stayed outside, especially in southern Nigeria, have stayed outside the electoral process in previous circles. And it's actually worsened. If you look at the trend over the last three cycles, you've seen increasing voter apathy. So you had something like, depending on whose figures you believe, about 35%, based on the INEC figures, was the turnout when you compare that to registered voters. Right. Worse than that, there was something like 106 million eligible voters. Now, so if you look at turnout as a percentage of that, then it's less than a third of that. And most of those people who are staying out are young. Now, there are structural reasons why they're not voting. Is that going to change in 2023? We don't know. But one thing is very clear. If President Muhammadu Buhari could get elected with 15 million plus votes, and there are about at least 90 million people who didn't vote for him in 2019, just getting a small fraction of that could change the difference. So it's left to Nigerians within Nigeria who can vote. Diasporans are still enfranchised, and if the young Nigerians decide to turn out, they could change the dynamics. But I've spoken a lot, but I could talk a lot about third parties and the lack of viability of third parties in Nigeria historically, and even outside Nigeria in every first support system.
Oh, well, that brings me to my next question, actually. How would you even rate the convention? And when you look at the list of the 6 contestants, Atiku, Wike, Saraki, Udom, Bala, Mohammed, Ayin, Pius, that emerged yesterday, was it disappointing to see that they were all familiar faces when we talk about voter apathy now? Do you think that this is one of the reasons why, young people wouldn't turn out to vote? And what does this say about the electoral process in Nigeria?
It's troubling. It's troubling, and it's both questions are connected in the sense that there's a lack of agency in the electorate. There's a feeling of a lack of agency. So if you feel that your vote is not going to make a change and it's not going to matter, then you're less likely to vote. And some of the voting conditions are onerous for people who are busy and who have things they're doing. So they ignore the process. If it's made easier and people believe that their votes will actually count and make a difference, you would see increased participation. And when I say it's troubling because it's almost a uniquely Nigerian phenomenon. So if you look at, say, Ghana, our neighbor Ghana, who we like to compete with, they have something like a 70% voter participation. If you go to Rwanda, that number is absolutely high, something like 98%. And for populous countries in Africa like us, like Ethiopia, Kenya, they're well over, Kenya is about 70%, Ethiopia is well north of 80%. So Nigeria has this unique position in terms of voter apathy. And if you have candidates that can connect to the electorate and excite them, and you make it less onerous to vote, that number will go up. So to answer your question, I think a lot of the faces we saw are the same faces we associate with how Nigeria has been governed. And many people on the street, in my opinion, believe that the outcomes of the last 2-3 electoral cycles has not been inspiring. The outcomes in terms of governance in recent years has been pretty poor, and they want a change. And I feel that seeing the same set of faces and the regular political class.
Thank you so much, my wonderful viewers, for watching this video together with me from the beginning to the end. Like I said before, if you like what you see here, if you like what I do in this platform, as you have finished watching this video, please hit that red button that says subscribe and put on your notification bell to all notification. In that way, you'll be able to know when I upload a new video. Share my videos, leave your comments in the comment section constructively. Until I meet your way again in my next video, I still remain your Linda's TV show. Bye-bye.